If it can't end now, when will it ever end?
Well, suffering and... Right, once we say spoilers, we can say whatever we want, right?
Yeah, what are they going to do, fire us?
Welcome to the Deadzone Podcast. Deadzone is the sci-fi tabletop miniature skirmish game from Mantic Games. And now, here are your hosts Rob Harper and Jack Pike. I am your announcer, William Randolph Wintergreen.
Welcome to the 96th episode of Deadzone the Podcast for May 2019. In this episode, we have a special Deadzone Escalation preview. As always, you can go to deadzonegame.podbean.com to see all the pictures, or you can go to youtube.com/Deadzone the Podcast for the video version of the show. Now on to the episode.
And welcome back to the Deadzone Podcast, episode 96. And with me, as always, is my bestie, my chum, Rob Harper.
I am the thing you feed to the sharks.
Tasty, tasty chum. A little salty, but full of nutrients.
That's what they say about me. And this is Deadzone the Podcast. And we got lots to talk about this month. We've been gifted some information from our overlords, so we'll be able to talk about that. And we got lots of news about some certain upcoming book that may or may not be coming out soonish. You ready for that?
Yes, we will tread lightly. We don't want to ruin anything. No spoilers.
Spoilers. Well, maybe a little spoilers.
Okay.
Well, the thing is, everybody else's stuff will be coming out first, so we can't even steal people's thunders. We're the end of the line. They could just steal our thunders.
We always are.
And we'll never know because we don't listen to any of those other shows, so it doesn't matter, but...
We listen to other shows.
I said I don't even listen to our show.
Oh.
And I edit them. News. Command Protocols Escalation is coming out June 3rd, supposedly, which is coming up quick, so I don't know, those pre-orders are starting, but they better be starting soon. It's going to be £15, 18 euros, 20 US dollars, 120 pages, which is nice big book. And it's going to have rules for adding mercenaries and a mercenary-based faction, which is fun. Won't be talking about that. Rebsk will have some new people, and there's going to be Veermen get a whole new faction, pretty much. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but not in depth. It's called the Volt Chasers. And everybody gets a few extra people and some changes in errata and multi-mat scenarios and interactive scenery, things like that. It's going to be fun times. It's going to be a necessary book if you play Deadzone, so buy it. Because if you don't, you'll be out of the loop. And I think for $20 a year, you can afford that to play Deadzone. Right?
Yeah.
You were going to play Devil's Advocate, and you're like, I can't even be bothered.
No, you know what I was going to say, I can understand, but really, if at some point you're like, this is the perfect game, and you stop, then you have that. Enjoy it. That's your Deadzone. Embrace it. Love it. But the new stuff coming out, there's people who always want the newest, hottest, freshest take, and that's for them.
Well, yeah, for Mantic, you have to keep bringing out models to sell, otherwise, what's the point, right? I could see why they want to keep putting books out.
Right.
But, there is a weird mentality in the gaming world that you have to play the newest thing. But if it's just you and your buddies, just play what you like. Right?
Yeah. As long as you're not feeling compelled or, every year that, this game is constantly a money pit. You don't have to.
It's true.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to tournaments, then you have to.
Yes, but I can assure you that I am more pleasantly surprised by Escalation than I've been in a little bit. So
spoilers.
That's not a spoiler.
Maybe it is. We have a second section here that we're going to talk about Escalation. So save it.
Spoilers for our own show.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Also, the Deadzone incoming Intel deck is coming out cards are coming back to Deadzone. It's like 5 years ago all over again. 10 pounds, 12.50 euros, 12 euros 50, and 15 US American dollars. And it's going to be like a mission pack. As you play, you pull cards and it changes the way you play. But yes, cards. This is entirely optional. You don't need this at all.
Yeah, but this has been, an iteration of this has been floating around in the Deadzone universe for a long while. Coach has been singing the praises for about a year now, so. And it is funny that when we went to version 2 of Deadzone, to streamline it and get rid of the cards and all the skills, and now we have more skills and the cards are back. Plus, we have the command dice. It's the ebb and flow of game creation, like it's a living, breathing entity.
Yes, it is interesting. That is for sure. I don't know. I hate cards in general. I think they don't belong in Deadzone. Deadzone's supposed to be fun and fast. But, once again, if you want to play it this way, go for it.
And honestly, when I'm putting all my tokens out on the board, why not just throw a couple cards out there too?
Yeah, that is my big issue. I guess this is for people who play so much they get bored with the regular game. I could see that. You have to spice it up a bit. I think that's what this is for. But it does remind me a lot of the version 1 cards. Like, that's pretty much what, with the, what are they called? It's been so long I don't remember anything about version 1. But
mission cards?
Yeah, that's right. Similar idea, but these you go round to round, so you could change it all the time, I guess. It's, it's interesting, but I don't know. I don't know.
We reserve our rights to an opinion, and it will change upon arrival. So, whenever they reach our doorstep, Rob's outlook might have changed 100%, but maybe.
And also, yes, we were talking about earlier that the Rebs are getting more guys because they had a lot of new models from Star Saga. So there's Rebs Alpha Team Faction Starter is coming out. 25 pounds, 35 euros, $40. You get tons of Reb goodness led by a ape who looks like he's from Planet of the Apes. And there's also a giant ape in the army, at least one. There's 2 actually. And you get more Sorax, more humans, but you also get what is that? What is she? The one with the human with the grenade. I couldn't say human for a second there.
you were like a 1980s science fiction trope there for a second.
Human.
Human.
You also get some more Rins, and you get some more Sphere, and you get that what's he called again? The guy with the big chain gun there. He's a character in Star Saga, but he's just a Grogan with a big gun. But this is a good starter set. So if you like Rebs and you want to switch them up a bit, this is a new way to play Rebs and a new leader.
And Escalation really does give a lot of love. It does scratch the back of the Rebs quite a bit. So what might look like some hey maybes and some could be nices might be I gotta get this. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, and you also get the Veerman Volt Chasers faction once again from Star Saga. Same price. This one is the Crone Mother, which is a different type of brood mother, and a bunch of other new things. These guys they have some new abilities in Escalation, which I'm sure someone else will be talking about. I forget who's talking about the Veerman, but they a lot of electricity going on, things like that. A little different way to play. They could either work with the regular Vermin or be their own faction, which is fun. And more rats.
So what you're saying is you don't have to buy Star Saga in order to play with the new models in Deadzone.
Oh no, you have to buy Star Saga. Come on.
Okay. Star Master.
Actually, none of this comes in Star Saga, which is the best part. These are all part of the expansions from Star Saga. But Star Saga does give you Maison Labs and Mercenaries faction now. So there you go. And it gives you tons of scenery and stuff, which you can also buy separately. That's always been available. So it's not just a ploy to buy Star Saga, all this Escalation stuff, if that's what you're asking, Jack.
That is what I was asking.
Because they do have scenery packs that have all the crates and what are those jar things and all that kind of stuff. All the interactive scenery that's going to be in Escalation. Once again, the Enforcer Pathfinder mono wheel is coming back for £12.50, €15 or $18. It's the old mono wheel with the Pathfinder on top, and it's a classic. We've never liked the style of the mono wheel. I think it should be a normal motorcycle, but she's back. It's almost, now it's like, I remember when it first came out, everybody made fun of it, but now it's like nostalgia has kicked in where everybody's like, oh, look at it, it's so unique. And
that's the best part of deprivation. When Disney puts their movies in the vault,
yeah,
then when they come back out, you go, oh, I didn't have access for a while. Why? Well, I was such a fool. But honestly, the aesthetic of the mono wheel is not my jam either.
At least not for the Pathfinders. We'll talk later about some other people who might be getting it. A Marauder Goblin Stuntbot is back. It's going to be $30, which is cheaper than I expected. So some of these are going to be coming my way. €25 or £20. Gotta love the Stuntbot. We've talked about it before. It's getting new arms and stuff. And finally, this is something we've been waiting for a very long time.
Yes. This has been on our checklist of gripes that has been slowly eaten away, eroded like sands on the beach. The Stuntbot is one of the last vestiges of the things we were like, well, why can't you? You can get everything else from every other faction. The Strider. Now it's here.
Yep. And we also get the new Marauder leader, Bolts. He's a Marauder pretty much in a Peacekeeper armor. I think that's about the size of him. €18, 18 euros, £15 or $20 for Bolts. And, I've gone on record saying I don't like his head, but I do like the rest of him. He's pretty cool. You could also use him as a Grunt Bot, which is in the new Marauder list, which we'll be talking about later. And, what do you think about Bolts?
I hate his body, but I like the rest of him.
You like his head? Oh, it's all right. When we buy one, I'll take the body. You can have the head.
I was just being contrarian.
You? Never.
No.
And I do like his claws. He has cool looking claws.
As a hero, as a one-off, like if you were to say, okay, this is the new, like some sort of specialist or even like a Strider, and I'd be like, having like a bunch of them across the field would look a little too much like some other gaming company not to be named, where they just lean real heavy into that. You
mean GW?
We said we've never mentioned them on this show before, and we'll never mention them again. But to have one mad scientist who's cobbled together a monstrosity like this, scampering around, that tickles me. So I like everything about it.
So you're saying when you go into Adepticon next year and people have grunt bots and they all have that head on them, you're going to just rip them off their models and say, no, that is for Bolts only, and stomp on them on the ground? Is that what you're saying?
No, I don't even... I can't even see the mental the lines that you took to get to that scenario.
I'm pretty sure that's exactly what you said.
Oh, okay.
We also get the Nameless Pheramite, which is £10, €12.50 and $15. It's a new creature. I think there's also a leader for the Nameless who's a Pheramite. And we have you can go to deadzonegame.podbean.com to see all the pictures. And we have the initial render of it. Plus, we have a painted version. I do like how they painted the armor on this one with the red highlights. It kind of reminds me of my Asterians that I've just recently done. What do you think about the Pheramite? He's just another guy with claws and squiddy legs.
Wormy legs.
Wormy legs, yes.
Wormy, squirmy legs. We saw the render at Adepticon. That was part of a sneak preview, a kind of, hey, thank you for coming to Mantic Night. Here's a little look ahead. And it was just the, if you're looking, the render's a gray kind of it doesn't showcase, obviously, what it possibilities were. And I was like, okay, whatever. Now seeing the painted version, the details that you don't see in the render, the little horns, the shape of the head.
The head looks totally different. I don't know if it is just the paint or that they redesigned the head, but I like the painted head so much more.
Yeah, in the render, the horns get lost. A lot of the head just washes into the carapace in the back, so you don't really get it. I think now seeing a painted version, which I suppose is the reason you have professional painters paint up the models, so that now I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, I don't think this one's painted by Angel Giraldes, so it's more attainable in the paint job. You look at it and go, I could do that. It's not crazy.
No, but still, it's not.
It's done well. It's not like you see like some of the other ones that Angel did, and you're like, oh, I can never do that. This one is attainable, I think. Very cool. Mantic also had their open day in England, and they talked about the Deadzone summer campaign coming in June, and it's just a weekend. It's not going to be like it was last time, so it's only one weekend. That's it. And it's going to be a real-time dead zoning of a planet. So you're going to start from what dead zone was called on it to the inevitable destruction of the planet. So it's all the races are fighting for as many resources as possible in that short period of time. So it's like a nice weekend event, which is kind of fun. I like the idea of not drawing it out. I think they probably saw the numbers wane after a while when they did 2 weeks last time or even longer?
Yeah. It was, at first there was a big bump and you're right, there was a rush of things being released. There was blogs, there was videos, there was a lot, and we had even scheduled ours to come, I think, in the second, or at the end of the first week so that we could kind of keep the momentum going. But like most things, we failed miserably because, by the end, I thought I saw a massive drop off. I think it was a bit too long. Is a weekend too short? Maybe, but
yeah.
But the 2 weeks was a little long for the community hour size, anyways.
I also think they have to fit in I think there's also going to be a what's it called, Kings of War event this year too. So they probably had to shorten everything up so that they could fit both in. Yeah. It should be fun, though. It's like, all it is just to get everybody to get into Escalation and have some fun. So that's all you want, really. And if it's that same kind of website like last time, it's going to be really pretty to look at, at the very least. So, should be fun. They also announced that the monowheel we were just talking about is going to have a GCPS and a Reb version. And the Reb version, we have a render here of it, is going to have a sphere on it. That is cool. Now for once, I'm like, okay, this bike looks cool. It looks so much better when it's just not supposed to be a military guy on it.
So you're saying the bike is affected by the rider, in your opinion, of its aesthetic?
Yeah, you look at it and you're like, it looks like a Vespa scooter, and you're like, well, why would even the GCPS, but why would the enforcers be riding that? But I could see a sphere just jumping on a bike that happened to be laying on the street and taking it to use it, you know? I don't think it looks military enough. And now, if it's just a street bike, that's fine.
Oh, like it's some civilian. Oh, well, it's Victoria Day weekend. For those of you at home, you may not even have heard it. There's some fireworks.
Hey, boy, get a turkey.
Whatever you say, or whatever it is.
We're playing opposite characters this time. Yeah. If you don't know what we're talking about, you have to go back and find very old, I don't even know what it was for.
It's an ad for
Vinland Old Time Radio.
I think so.
Anyways, yes, Victoria Day weekend. We celebrate our queen. But anyways, yeah, the sphere bike looks cool. You got interrupted by fireworks.
Yes. And my train of thought is now onto, since I've scrolled down to other things.
Also, they talked about Warpath, and it is getting an FAQ. It is coming in the works. We talked to Tyler, who was on the rules committee, and he did confirm that. And hopefully it cleans some stuff up before a inevitable version 2 comes out. It's not quite dead, and I think it can come back stronger than ever. But we'll see. And with that, we'll take a little musical break. We'll come back and speak about all the secrets that we could tell about Escalation. Get your secret cap on, Jack.
Ooh, secret cap.
Hi, this is Ronnie. Get on down and listen to the Deadzone Podcast. It's amazing.
Oh yeah, that was a nice musical interlude. We're back, and we're going to be talking about some secrets from Escalation. We had some stuff doled out to us to give to you guys, but you can also go to Family Gamers 777 and Dreadpath Zone and Frantic Gamers and Way to Fire for other exclusives. They'll have all come out by now. We're the last in line. And, yeah, you can go check them out. They'll have even more about Escalation. It will be coming out none too soon after this, so it'll just be a little bit of a highlight. Get the hype train rolling. And we were asked to talk about the new Asterians, Forge Fathers, and our favorite faction, the Marauders. They know us way too well there at Mantic. We'll start with the Asterians. So, yeah, Asterians. Jack, do you have anything to say about the Asterians?
About what I like about the Asterians, but in general, like the...
Sure.
Well, honestly, it wasn't the... of all the factions that I thought needed a boost for Escalation, it wasn't one of the ones I had in mind. If you were to pin me down and say, did they need anything? I think everyone got a little bit of love.
Yeah, only because of Star Saga and the Mercs. That's the only reason everybody got a bit of love.
And honestly, if we are now into the breaking of the
Bads,
yeah. Now, if we're going to open up that, what I love about the Escalation the most is, and it's going to sound stupid, is the layout.
You just give it a little highlight on the layout. What do you like about the layout?
They've introduced how much.
Hey, Jack, we're not allowed to talk about the layout. We're just talking about the Asterians, the Forge Fathers, and the Marauders.
That's it?
Oh, sorry. You could speak about the layout, I guess. Just don't say what's in the layout, I guess.
Okay.
Why do you like the layout? Just tell us why you like the layout, Jack.
Because the way it was before is the Mercs were basically unbalanced to the point where you couldn't really play them. Everyone would take some and never take others, and a couple others would swing between. So without, no one was taking Freya, but everyone was taking, say, Nastanza. But the way the Mercs were put in the book, before, they were in the back, kind of hidden, and I don't think, even barring the fact that they were kind of unplayable. Well, they were unplayable. I shouldn't say kind of. They were in the back, and no one ever saw them. Now, with the book, the way it's laid out, every Merc that's with a faction is kind of with the faction to a degree. I'm not going to go too much more into that, but.
Yeah, certain Mercs can be used with certain factions, and they're included in the list as one-off specialists. We could say that because the Asterians do have a bunch of Mercs they can use. Like, they have Nastanza, Nemrath, Odasor. He's that new, I think he's the, what are those, Macedon? Matsudan? Yeah, those guys. He's one of those. Sohin is the one with the bird on his shoulder from Star Saga. And Tenor Go, which I think is the only model we do not have at this point. He's a Black Talon, I think, with a sword. Anyways, those are now very expensive specialist options, and they're in the list of these, in the actual army list with the rest of them. Like, when I say very expensive, I mean like 30 plus points for each of these guys. You're really only going to take them if you really want to take them. I don't think that they purposely made them more expensive, I think, just because of that.
Yeah, they range from like 35 at the top end, and 28 down is at the bottom. So not a huge range between them, but certainly there's a price. Price is an issue. But so an odd way to start discussing the Asterians is by why I like the layout. But the mercenaries are there now. They're in your face. You're making a list. You want to know what's what. It's right there, right in your eye line. So
I was surprised to see that also, because they also have a master list because mercenaries have their own section for building an army, and you can find them all there too. So they're actually kind of put in two different places, which is nice. So you don't have to flip back and forth. It didn't just say, "Hey, go look up top here." They're actually in two spots, which is nice. I thought that was, like you say, it's a good layout. The only other thing with the Asterians is they got a new leader, Marionette Prime. And, it's a Marionette leader. He does have a new splat. We'll might as well read the splat here. You can use the special results, when a Marionette Specialist, or a Marionette Prime performs a shoot action, allow a second Marionette Specialist or Marionette Prime within 2 cubes of the first model to also take a free shoot action at the same or another model in range. At the end of activation, both models are marked as activated. So it's almost like, there is some other game that has linked shooting like that. I can't remember which one it is, but I'm trying to think. Is it, there is another game. I can't think what it is, but you can, your ally can shoot also at the same person. It's kind of fun. I don't know how useful. I don't know if you want to waste a Marionette, have it on Marionette list. Like, that seems pretty weak, but
I do love the Marionettes, though.
They look awesome, but I don't know how effective that would be, because they're not super cheap. You're not going to be, I guess we'll discuss all this on a team building exercise in the future, but, it's another leader. It's always good. And, we won't even go into all the mercenaries, because Coach will be going over all the mercenaries on Family Gamer, so you can just go there and talk about the mercenaries.
Okay, but can I just say which one I think is my favorite of them?
Of the Asterian mercenaries?
Yeah.
Sure.
Tenor Go has always been like one that I just liked aesthetically. He looks like a Black Talon, and I don't know. He's got the energy shield, the jump packs. He's got the hand to hand going on there, and everything about him I just like. So
that's funny because we don't have the model for him. I guess you just model up a Black Talon, really.
Yeah. He looks so much. You're not missing out.
It's funny because I bought in Star Saga Wave 2, there was an option to buy all the mercenaries. And I bought them all, but this is one that wasn't in there, which is strange.
Huh.
So I don't know if he's still available somehow. I have to see if I can get him. But yeah, Energy Shield 4 is always nice to have, especially on a specialist, because he's not even a leader. So I did notice in this book, a little off topic, is there's no elite lists. They kind of went away from elite lists. They're like, we don't need those.
I'm going to save it for when we get to the hate.
Okay. So that's about it for the Asterians. They didn't get much love. They just got added those mercenaries, which will add a lot into them. I don't think there's even anything else. I don't know if any of their stats changed. I didn't notice any of their stats changed.
Oh yeah, I didn't go unit by unit.
I did I think. So I think none of them did, because I did do a quick comparison between this and Outbreak. And I don't think I noticed anything different for the Asterians, other than obviously all the mercs are different price now and have different abilities and stuff. So that's pretty much covers the Asterians. If you like Asterians, they're already good. You don't need an upgrade. They're already perfect. So there you go. Perfect. So that brings us to the Forge Fathers. Forge Fathers did have a lot changed. Forge Fathers changed a lot, and It may say something that their coach is one of coach's favorite factions, so they got a lot of love, but not all of it was changed for the better, I don't think. There's some... Well, I guess it was all changed for the better. I'm looking at it, and I don't know if there's anything that's worse. The big thing is that Chief Brocker's splat got changed, and it's no longer some useless item splat. It is now spend an army special result on your command dice to give a modeled Brocker in its name the Evade and Resilient 1 abilities for the round. So, Weight of Health and Evade. You're giving all your Brockers. That's alright, if you want a Brocker list, but it's better than it was. That's all. I'll give you that.
Oh, yeah. And is it just me, or they didn't change the name? Strike It Lucky was what it was used to be called.
Yeah.
Items, right? Yeah.
So It's not a different name, so it's that Strike It Lucky doesn't really... I guess you're a bit lucky because you're getting dodge and stuff, and you're getting lucky that they're not getting shot. You're not getting hit. So that's the big thing with their change. They also, the Brocker's Militia and Brocker Specialists are 1 point cheaper now, and Hammerfist Drop Troopers are 2 points cheaper. That smacks of Coach demanding that be cheaper. He always complains they're too expensive.
That's been, we discussed our bugaboos earlier about what it was that we always thought needed a adjustment, and that's been his, that's been the hair up his ass for a long time.
The big thing, another big thing is Brocker Engineer has Hacker, like all engineers now. And Hacker, works, there's interactive scenery now in the game. And, people who have the Hacker ability can access terminals and intel. And, there's a bunch of missions and stuff that it works with. I'm sure whoever talked about that stuff will have discussed how Hacker interacts with that stuff. So go listen to them.
And were we allowed to mention interactive scenery?
Yes, that was, that's known that there's interactive scenery. That was, part of the book description.
Okay.
But you just can't, I don't think we should just explain what it is or anything, but.
Okay.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about everything else on the next episode because that'll be after the NDA is over, so.
Right. Because honestly, the interactive scenery is one of the most intriguing, has the most potential change to the game that I look forward to discussing.
And I haven't read it yet. Inferno Drill now has something called Firing Platform, and it's a new ability, and because we need more new abilities. And Firing Platform pretty much just gives anybody with that plus X dice when performing a shoot action. It just gives him an extra die when he shoots, which is powerful, but I don't know if you need an ability for that. Strange thing.
Yeah, because it's got to shoot 4+.
So now you get 4 dice base to shoot with a firing further. I think our idea with coaching us when we thought of that no line of sight is way better than just giving a +1 dice. I still wouldn't take him. He can't see anything. He's too small.
Yeah, melting through all the boring through the scenery to hit people is thematically fun.
Well, that's what in Mech Zone we added a mining laser, which did just that. No line of sight needed. You can just shoot through everything.
Yeah, well, that's fun.
It'll be in version 3, just like everything else we think of.
But I'm wondering, with Firing Platform, you get an extra die. Mm-hmm. But we need Dr. Mark LLC Cool J to put out a chart. Why wouldn't they just make it shoot 2? Yeah,
it's shooting 4 dice better than shooting. Yeah, dropping the shoot stat. Since nothing else modifies number of dice other than, well, I guess other, like, having advantage does, but this is the first ability that gives you an extra dice, I think. Oh, I guess not. Sniper Scope does. That's the same kind of idea. So it's kind of like a weaker sniper. It's almost like a holoscope. Why didn't they just give him holoscope?
Holosight?
Yeah, because holosight already does that.
Huh. Oh, I'm just positing.
So they added an ability that is they duplicated ability.
That happens all the time.
Yeah, funny. Yeah, so you're right. I think adding extra dice would be more powerful, especially on a 4+ where you're going to hit quite often anyways. So, but once again, you need line of sight on this thing, and he's pretty small. You have to put him out in the open. He saves on 3s now, though. Do you always save on 3s? That seems really low. So he's pretty durable.
Yeah.
I don't know. Fun times with Inferno Drill. Thor Pattern Iron Ancestor is 5 points cheaper, which is nice because it was ridiculously priced before. It has Frenzy 3 now, which only had Frenzy 2 before. And it comes with a one-use smoke launcher, which is a new ability that the walkers can get. Not an ability, but new weapon option. It's the smoke launcher is a 3-point walker weapon that doesn't take a hard point. So any walker, I think it's not even walker. I think it's is it walker? It's support walker. Yeah, so walkers. Which so even the normal Iron Ancestor can take it for the extra 3 points. It doesn't take any hard points. It's kind of fun. But he comes with it for free. So now the Iron Ancestor, the Thor pattern became much more useful. He's still 5 VPs and he's 50 points, but still, you got a smoke launcher and he's got Frenzy 3 now. He fights on 5s, which is 50-50. It's almost useful now, I would think.
Yeah, and useful in that the regular Iron Ancestor is so good that you would pay more to get a less versatile, less useful model on the table before. Where now that's not so much. Still expensive, but before no one would take the Thor pattern over the regular Ancestor.
Well, and regular one's still really good. It's expensive once you put weapons on it, but it has fire control, so you could shoot 2 different targets. That's why I wish the Thor pattern had something where you can smack twice with each hammer or something, but it's all good. It's all good. It did put him into the realm of possible now instead of never going to use him. And also the Forge Fathers got Hellfather, Bjarn Starnfall, an excavator robot from Dreadball, Freya, Ogran Hellcare from Star Saga, and Ingolf Kresterson with his puppy pad are now specialists that you can take. You have to take, you can only take pad if you take Ingolf, unfortunately. Otherwise, I would take pad in every army I ever took. But, still. Fun. I like the addition of, like we talked about before, one-use heroes. Although the excavator robot isn't one use, so if you have a bunch of excavator robots, you can throw them in there. And it's just, it's pretty much just it's supposedly a robot, but in the game, I think it's just a guy in a suit in Dreadball, so.
So, yeah.
But he's a solid construct beast, tenacious, and he's got a mining drill, so he's just a hand-to-hand guy. So, but still, you can take them. Pretty good, armored up little robot. Still expensive though. He's still 20 points.
With the aesthetic like the tanks have and everything like that, like you look, it looks very mechanical, but then you look, but they've made an armor beard, an armor. Yeah, it looks like the helmet of the robot looks like a Forge Father helmet.
Yeah,
very on brand.
Pretty funny. A little expensive, but fun. Yeah, that's it for the Forge Fathers. Anything else you could think of for these boys?
No. I think you covered it. You went pretty in depth, and honestly, the love that Freya got, is I cannot understate how terrible she was. And mind you, she came out years ago and was never updated for anything, and was bad at that time. So you can imagine the power creep left her. She came on before the power creep and was still terrible, and after everything kind of progressed, and now I can see people taking her.
Yeah, she's got a gun that can shoot 2 different ways, and she's got a hammer, and she's a hacker, which is fun. And
being an engineer, it does have its advantages now, and being tough, she's no slouch anymore.
No, she's pretty good, pretty fun. On to the Marauders, our favorite thing. I always make fun of that the Marauders aren't our favorite thing, but lately I've been liking the Marauders. Once I switched their heads off, I actually like them a lot more. And we did talk about Bolts. He is the new Goblin leader. There still can't build an army list with Goblins because there is no Goblin troops yet, but Coach said he's working on it, so hopefully get some Goblin troops in next year's book. But right now, we get a Goblin leader for once, named Bolts. And he's got a splat called Tinkerer, which he uses command dice to remove a single wound or to prevent a wound from being taken on bolts or grunt bots. So he's good for a grunt bot army. And you can use multiple of the same thing. So you can, if he's taking like 3 wounds, you have 3 command dice, you can use them all. So he's very similar to one of the Enforcer. I think it's Enforcer Captain, or one of the Enforcers, Peacekeeper Captain. One of them has the same kind of splat. But I think that one you can do it for anybody, where Bolts can only do it for Gruntbots and himself. He's a funny little guy. He's fives across the board. Recon 6+. He's solid, which is good, but other than that, he's cheap. I think that's the only thing you could say about him. He's only 24 points.
I think if you fall in love with him as a concept and as the model, then he's going to see a lot of table time. I have that feeling that he's going to be much beloved by the community by the time everything's said and done.
Yeah, it might be just one of those things where everybody loves the model, so he ends up a lot of time on the board.
Yeah, he's just that. He's got that personality, much like Coach. You know, you want to tell him no, you can't come back on team building exercise next season, but you know, you just can't help you. You look into his little puppy dog face and okay, come on.
That's the behind the scenes stuff right there. Skyscraper is 3 points more expensive. What? But he also got aerial deployment, which makes him actually useful. I'm glad other races or other factions are getting aerial deployment now, because that's cool. And so him having that, it doesn't make him as powerful as the guys from GCPS with the commandos who has the aerial deployment. And but it does make him useful. So yeah, Skyscrapers maybe actually useful now.
And honestly, the model wasn't our favorite when we got it, but when you do it upright, I've seen them done. They look decent enough, and they are useful. Like with aerial deployment now, they've gone from like something I'll have to paint because I've painted the rest of the models and it'll sit on a shelf. I can see people making a list that's going to be a big part of their first round, the way they play.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I think, didn't he used to have jump packs? Now, he lost jump pack to get aerial deployment, so he doesn't have his parachute anymore, but still pretty good. Commando specialists aren't just commandos that are specialists. Now, they actually have hacker, which is interesting. So, it's because the orcs don't have engineers, so they need to have someone with hacker, so they gave it to him. Makes sense.
Yeah. With the Goran, the Saboteur, you'd think maybe that would have been their jam, but
I think they got enough stuff going on already, those guys.
Yeah, when you think about it, the commando specialist might not have gotten as much playtime, and you give them hacker, and now because for some factions, taking the specialist version of a regular troop just didn't seem necessary.
Well, this one, everybody would take them because you can give them hollow sights and HMGs.
Yeah.
So that was the combo with these guys. But now they can have hollow sights, HMGs, and be hackers. So it's nice still. Like I say, someone had to have it, and I might as well give it to them.
Yeah.
You're not giving it to the Mob Beast.
Oh.
Speaking of the Goran Saboteur, it's 1 point cheaper for some reason. 1 point, I don't think that matters much. He does have his stun grenades, which is unlimited, so he's kind of like Boomer in that way, where you could just keep whipping stun grenades at people, which is fun. And he's got a bow and a knife. So there you go. And he's got Scout, too, so you can run him up and start whipping stun grenades right off the bat. Stun grenades are kind of fun, because they just remove people's actions. If you want to be a real jerk, you can take a bunch of Goran Saboteurs and the leader, who steals people's his command dice, and then you can just really stop them from doing anything.
Just be a disruptive presence rather than. Yeah, that's fun though. That's fun. Grenades are wacky enough that they go flying this way and that way.
Especially he has a 6+ shoot too. So
yeah. So at some point you could be stun grenading your own Saboteur who's also trying to pull the same stunt. Yeah.
The Hulks have the Hugh cannons, which are not in the list anymore, so only they can have Hugh cannons now. And they lost weight of fire on those Hugh cannons. But other than that, they're still hulky. Just they shoot on 4s anyways, so weight of fire probably doesn't help that much, but...
Still fighting on that 6+.
Yeah, Hulks are babies.
Look at the guns on that guy. He's soft.
Yeah.
Soft like baby.
Look at the Gruntbot. He's got the helmet down for the Gruntbot, which Jack would rip off in a tournament setting. And he is...
Is that canon now?
Yes, that is canon.
When you make something up like that, you have to go, canon!
The Gruntbots are just hand-to-hand guys. They got buzzsaws and ripper talons, and they have solid. They are 20 points. And, yeah, it's pretty much a goblin in a ripper suit, sort of. Like a small ripper suit. It's size 2, but it has armor too, which is nice. So it's smaller than a ripper suit, but it has more armor. And he's got, he's like a ripper mainmaker without all the other fun stuff. No, the ripper mauler, I should say. Yeah. And, not much more to say about the good old Gruntbots. We've talked about them a lot. Stuntbots, they're back. They're more expensive. They went up 6 points, but they gain fire control. We know we love fire control, and they have 3 hard points too, which is nice. But, gaining fire control is worth 6 points? I would think so. It's a great ability.
Yeah. Fire control, for people who don't know, allows you to shoot. If you have multiple weapons on something, you're allowed to pick targets with the weapons. And it's something that when you're kitting out a strider or something, and when you say, oh, well, why don't you give them 2 flamers, 2 this, you model up, I want to do this. Well, it doesn't make a difference. You're shooting one or the other, or, like it. So for playability, it's like having a second free shoot anyways, but it's also, it also mixes it up with what you can put with your hard points.
Yeah, so you might want to put 2, usually you're trying to put 1 weapon that you care about, and maybe you'll throw 2 on there because you want to shoot 2 different weapons,
Yeah.
The gun track went up 5 points, and I looked for a long time. I couldn't figure out why. It's 5 points more, and they got nothing new. Or they thought the gun tracks were overpowered before for some reason. Like, sure, a gun track with a mortar is nice, but now it's 30 points. So when it used to be 25, I guess maybe that's why people spamming gun tracks. They're their vehicle. It's hard to spam them. So I don't understand why they put them up 5 points. They thought that was a necessary expense. Strange choice that. Although there is a new weapon for vehicles called a stabilized Hue Cannon. It replaces the regular Hue Cannon that now only the Hulk has. And the stabilized Hue Cannon is range 12, AP 5, and has that firing platform again, so it gets that extra dice. So I guess you could give that to them, but I don't think that makes up for... that costs 10 points already.
Yeah, I was just going to say for 10 points. Ugh.
So you're up to 28 points, and really you need line of sight once again, which sucks. I'd much rather put that stabilized Hue Cannon on the Stuntbot. Like, that makes a Stuntbot. That's a Stuntbot cool weapon for him. Because he's got... you give him 2 of those, and with his fire control, that's pretty good. Anyways, yeah, so if anybody knows why the gun track went up 5 points for no reason, let me know. I'm very curious about that one. Unless I'm just not seeing it. I looked everywhere, trying to figure it out. I was like, did they get another hard point? No, still just 1. I couldn't figure it out. And, as we're saying, everybody gets specialists. You get a specialist, you get a specialist. These guys get specialists. They get my favorite Hobgoblin Boomer. He's the Grenadier. He gets tons of grenades. He's awesome. He's only 20 points. He's pretty good. And he's got Boom 3, so you can blow him up. And, yeah.
I like that model. The face is the face that I think you should... If I were to make an orcish, creatures, that's the face I'd use rather than the ones that, they went with. But... yeah, how can you complain? He doesn't stink anymore, but, Yeah,
well, ever since he's been living with Coach, I think his hygiene's improved.
That's a lot of character development and time and energy we've put into making a well-rounded character arc there, and that's all shot to hell.
No, it's good. I think that's part of the character arc. He's cleaning up his scene, man.
Oh.
You hate Boomer, but I'm glad to see he's improving. We also get Chief Radgar, which I just built. He's pretty cool with his big decapitator and his twin blasters. I like him. He's huge. Like, you don't realize how big this guy is. He's bigger than the average Ripper suit. And he's kind of fun. You also get Sergeant Ugaric, who's from Star Saga, and also Chief Malaka, who's the guy on the jetpack, who's the skyscraper, who shows up on team building exercise, and he's quite soft-spoken.
He does have jump pack and aerial deployment.
He does have a jump pack, which is funny that the other guy doesn't. I wonder if that's a mistake.
I was just about to say that. Maybe. It makes kind of sense that they gave the orcs one use, like it runs out of gas when it lands.
That's true, yeah.
You're stranded, so I was like, at the time, I was like, okay, yeah, that's just a...
And he got the better version that actually can take off again.
that can go across open areas and stuff. I don't know.
I do like his head, too. He's got the goggles on. And there's also Shade, which we didn't know he's a robot. Looks like a robot, but he's actually an orc in a robot suit. And he's a medic, which is funny. He's got wrist blades and a pistol, but he's got medipacks. And he's stealthy in Frenzy 1. He doesn't have the medic ability, which is changed, which someone else will be talking about, but he does have medpacks, which is kind of fun. Shade.
Even though we're talking about a medic right now,
he's not a medic. That's why.
Oh, okay.
They don't have any medics. We can't talk. What are they going to do? Fire us? Medics, they're supposedly improved. All they do is now they give, if you're in the space with them, they give you Resilient 1, I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's in a nutshell. If you're in a space with one, then you get the bonus. It's not a... I was led to believe there's going to be some earth-shattering, they're going to be...
I was hoping for more, like, they'd get shots, so they could give you adrenaline shots and stuff. Like, all the, like, the item, but they could have it on them, just like the people who can use multiple grenades. I wish they could. Maybe they do. I haven't looked through all the medics. Maybe some of them do. But
yeah,
that's for someone else to talk about, because none of our people have medics, which is kind of funny. We got all the group without medics.
Oh.
Maybe that's why they gave us these ones, so we couldn't bitch about them. Joke's on you. We still bitched about them.
You can't stop the
the bitching.
Yeah.
You can't stop the signal.
That's what I was gonna say, but then.
Yeah. It's that's our part of Escalation. It's fun. I think it's even better than Outbreak, this book. I think it's done a lot more. They went farther than they did with Outbreak, and I personally think it's a better book.
Me too.
I'm 100% happier with this book. Not that I was unhappy with Outbreak, but this is like, oh, if this are all going to be like this is a nice addition. I like the addition of the new scenarios, new multi-mounted things. You were talking about the scenery interactiveness.
Yes.
That kind of stuff. Like, it really added that, but just the Mercs faction alone, which I'm sure Team Building Exercise will be talking about that for June once we do the June one. I'm sure that's the first, we haven't discussed it yet, but I think that'll be the first group we talk about, just because I think we'll all be pretty excited to build Merc lists. That'll be kind of fun. And like I say, you can go to Family of Gamers for the Mercs, and you can also go to Dreadpath Zone, Frantic Gamers, and Weight of Fire. All the links will be in the show notes to check out their coverage and their insight, which is probably much more informative since 90% of those people are on the rules committee.
Yeah. They know the ins and outs, the whys, what the decision-making process. We're just on the back end getting a little sneak preview, which we do appreciate.
And we'll be back with some shout-outs, because we like them, and we haven't done them in a while.
Hey, this is Mark Zelinsky from the Countercharge Podcast, and you're listening to the Deadzone Podcast. Or no, it's not the Deadzone Podcast, Deadzone the Podcast.
Yeah.
And welcome back. We are discussing the new Escalation book. We did an overview, but now we're going to get back to our roots, back to why we do the show, and that's our community. And Rob, who is it that we're going to highlight in this month's episode?
Thank you, Jack. Reporting in from Fallujah. He's embedded in the Reb resistance here.
That's right.
Your ongoing firefight in your backyard is it's distracting, but we'll make it through.
Right now, I'm crouched behind a stunt bot. The wreckage, the smoke fills my lungs. Yeah.
Yes, quite. It's Wolf Blitzer all over again. Our first shout out is to Daniel Burnham. Daniel Burnham is done a crazy creature. I assume it's a aberration?
It's a Teraton.
It started off as a Teraton.
Ish.
It's now got like tentacles coming off its head, and he's got a scorpion tail and chitinous armor on his back. This thing's crazy. It's a crazy time.
I don't know why it reminds me of Doomsday when he broke Superman's back.
Yeah, had all those spikes sticking out of him. Yeah,
spiky and just unpleasant for the sake of unpleasantness. But I really like the mandibles he's got on there. I want to see this thing painted up.
Yeah, it's very cool. We love modifications, so it's cool. He also did a Reb team, a Reb what are they called, the crew assisted weapon team, but he has the Dreadball Frog guy with the four-legged guy from Dreadball. The Rebs team in Dreadball is on the base, so it's a great use for those guys in Deadzone because they don't have weapons, but you could throw them on a base with a mortar, and all of a sudden they're a mortar team.
And I have now had to be staunchly against the use of repurposing of Dreadball miniatures. That is now something I find abhorrent, but I do love little froggy guys like that, and to paint them up with the bright greens of like an arrow frog and with the big orange eyes, like something like a mascot from a chain restaurant. You know, I think that'd look really funny. Him behind the mortar.
Yeah, I love it. We also have John McLean. He did a Reb team up. Or actually, is it Rebs? I guess so. He's using the GCPS guys as Rebs troopers, I assume. But he put different heads on them, which I think look really great. There's one with a nice bald guy with a bearded face. And I don't know where he got the heads from, but I like them a lot. I love reheading things. As everyone knows, I reheaded my Marauders, and I love them now. It really changes things up when you put new heads on things. And it changes the GCPS up enough that they could be Rebs. And I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, and there's a couple of dynamic poses in there. Like some of them look static, like they're just walking, and then other ones have got like kind of like that leaning forward, running look. That's as a nice squad too. Like got all the colors kind of mixed, but it's not like homogeneous where they wash into each other. So he took a lot of time figuring out what colors each one we're going to have, and then which ones would be the accent. I like it.
They aren't GCPS, they're Maison Labs, actually. They're from Star Saga. I look at them more. You can tell by their weapons, I think. Maybe it's a mix, actually. I look at it. Anyways, look great. And once again, mix and match, people. And then we have Kevin Haney, and he did his own flock of murder birds. He got some metal birds from something, and put them on a ripped up Deadzone scenery base, and he's got his own flock of murder birds. And Jack, I know you hated the little murder birds, but this is a better way to use them, I think.
It's got the same problem that I had with the Mantic murder birds, is that they were all touching each other, but these birds here, because the Mantic ones were modeled with their wings down and very thin, everything was kind of, I don't know, this looks like a flock of birds in flight very close. The Mantic ones look like a bunch of birds that had been tarred and jammed together. I don't know. I did not care for the other models, the ones on the vulture one. The
big ones. Yeah.
wonderful. I love them. I cannot stress enough how fun they were to paint, how good they look. The little clump looks like trash. This looks better.
Yeah, it's almost like they're like really coming at you as a group, like a swarm of birds. I think the other one just didn't have enough. And these aren't the same birds? These are different. These are
different birds.
They almost look like he sculpted them himself. Some of them, or at least recasted some. I can see some are a different material. So I think he just either sculpted them or got a few and redid.
I was going to mention that I think some of them look like they're milliput, some of them look like they're metal, some of them...
So I think he just filled out the group. And with the Mantic ones, once again, if you did that, I think it was just there wasn't enough. It's like 4 birds, and you're like, oh, they're just 4 birds like hitting each other in midair. Where this looks like a concentrated flock of evil. Although now that with Hellboy, the Hellboy set comes with all the crazy birds. You can use them as murder birds. So there you go.
But this isn't the Hellboy podcast, so...
Oh, wait. You wait. Next is Ollie Gibson. He did a bunch of Pathfinders. And I just like the color scheme of these guys, different types of greens. I did my first Deadzone army in greens, so I appreciate that someone else is using the greens. I got yelled at for doing it, so screw everyone. Green looks good on these guys.
This looks like this is what you would paint. Like if I handed you a group, even the basing is the way you do it with just the little bit of rubble. Is this some sort of prank where you've added one of your paint jobs for me to critique so that you can? Is this an aha moment?
Actually, this is just painted better than I did, so I think the attention to detail is a little bit better than I usually do. But
the colors,
very similar colors.
Yeah.
And he also did Forge Fathers, and they used bolt action Seek heads on some of them to make once again an interesting group, and I love it. Re-heading things, and I like how he told us where he got the heads from, so it's from bolt action, and he gave them like blonde beards, even though they have dark skin, just to make them look, okay, these aren't just humans in armor, these are something different here. And I think it looks really, really nice. Nice.
That looks amazing.
Yeah, just to change things up. He mixed them in with the regular Mantic ones, so some guys got helmets, some guys have got the turbans on, and such a good idea. I love these ideas. How many years has Deadzone been going? And we still get these new ideas, and it's great.
That's the best part is like with the rules and stuff. And we're interested. We'll talk about it, and we want to bring that to the population. But this is our jam right here. The modeling, the hobby, this is where we really, really, we're not going to be winning any tournaments, and we're not going to be able to have a lengthy discussion about, various minutia. But when you say, hey, what have you seen that's been painted? And you go, I saw this, and that was amazing. And that's, again, what we kind of really try and foster.
Yeah. I think that's what I like a lot. And I'm sure in the future, maybe we'll focus on that a lot more than anything else. Sam T.G. Law, which sounds like a 80s cop. He should be got his mustache, and he doesn't play by the man's rules necessarily.
No, but his stuffy British butler always tries to rein him in.
Yeah. He did Psychotroid? Is that what these things are called?
Yes.
And he did it in a nice fade. I like it, but I really like almost looks slimy. And I think is that face always like that with that big one eye? I think he did a little something there.
I've got mine right beside me. I can take a look. Although it's just primed, so I don't know. It kind of looks like the one Andy Sharp did. Andy Sharp just did one. It was more blackish, but he went with the same aesthetics. Yeah, it's got that center eye right in the middle of it.
That's cool. I never really noticed that before. I like how this one, it's like purples and reds, but then the eye is green, so it really stands out. I like that. Nice job, TJ Law.
I did find out just how tough they were, though. At the Jeff Burbage was running one during the tournament, and I wasted a full round of guys just shooting at it, and between its toughness and its shield, oh god, I was desperate to kill it. And no, it's for a leader. It's got some staying power. I well underestimated it on paper. It wasn't until I saw it in action. Yeah.
And next is Jeffrey George, who does a lot of customs, which I'm always enjoying his stuff. And here's some of it. He did a Plague Enforcer with a huge gun. He has the what's it called? The burst laser he's using. Because it's an experimental weapon with the guys. But he also has on the ground, like, ripped off shoulder pads that he was wearing, that he ripped off when he plagued out. Like, nice attention to detail, that kind of stuff. I really enjoy that. And I love that face like he did. It's just, is that a plague face? It's just a great face where he's just screaming.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, really nice. Attention to detail is great. And he did it in the classic Mantic color scheme too, so it looks even better that not the plague necessarily, he's kind of more orangish, like he's just changed, but his body armor and everything looks like the classic Enforcer armor. So
that's what I was going to mention, is that some people strive to paint exactly like it is in the book, and that's fine if that's what you do to, if that's what you enjoy, whatever. But sometimes I feel people don't have the imagination to do it their own thing and make it special. You can tell he specifically made it look just like the Mantic models, like the same everything, and then had his own flair to it, which was, elevates that even more. And honestly, I like the Plague model, the Plague Enforcer model, but it doesn't capture what this one does. This one looks like a monster. He's got that snarling face. He's got everything. I really like that.
It looks like he's just changing and he's in pain, and yeah, really like it. And it's easy to do. It's just a plague head and a plague arm. The weapon is the main thing. Like, he did that new weapon, but to do something similar it's not too hard.
Is that the weapon off the back of the dog drone?
Could be. Speaking of dog drones, the other thing he did was, instead of doing the normal crew-served weapon, he did a GCPS with the dog drone, and then on the dog drone has a different weapon option. So he's got the missile launcher, he's got the big las cannon, and then the other gun. So instead of having the normal crew-served weapons, he's got this, and I think this is, once again, such a good idea. Like, you have so many dog drones, you're not going to use that many in the army, because every time you get a sprue of Pathfinders, you end up with a dog drone. So to do this for the GCPS, that's pretty fun. Smart. And, yeah, he probably magnetized the weapons too, which is, he did, because you can see the magnet there. So you can just switch them out easy enough. And if I was building more of these guys, I definitely wouldn't build the GCPS crew-served weapons, because they were a pain in the butt. Oh my god, I remember they were part of the reason I almost killed myself when I was doing GCPS. But to do this looks so much simpler and so much cooler. And we also have Gom from Discord. He did a stunt bot, the classic stunt bot, and I just love the color scheme on this guy. He's all beat up in gray, but then I love the red accents. Like, it's really nice, really well done stunt bot. And I cannot wait to get my own stunt bot, but I thought I'd show off one here.
His stunt bot looks like it should be, with the colors and just the way, the aging and stuff, it looks like something from Fallout. Like, you expect some sort of old-timey music behind him as he's walking along.
You just need a Nuka-Cola on the ground in front of him.
Yeah, like it's got that flair. I like it.
Does a bit, yep, now you say that. And we got Marcus Mogg. He did his group of Forge Fathers, and I like them. They look almost like actual military. They got the green, and their weapons are like got the brown on them. I think it's just a really down-to-earth version of the Forge Fathers. And the Brockers I like a lot. They look like a shorter version of the guys from Predator.
like they'd shake hands.
Yep. And he's also did one of his leaders there. I think it's the Brocker leader. Or I can't remember which one this is, but instead of having a hammer, he gave him an axe, which it's nice to switch out some weapons there. And he's got his stogie in his mouth with his axe in his hand. I can never remember which guy this is. He's got I think he might be the militia one. I can't remember. It's a model that I never knew I had, or I just got recently for some reason. And I was like, never seen him before, really. Interesting model. I think he came in the Metal Madness when Mantic was selling those ones off. They were like really early versions of the dwarves.
Oh.
And we got something from a little known guy named Martin Thurwell. He did his Stage 1A, a little bit of a mix between the chitness armor and the green of Jack's liking, and really contrasting, really bright colors.
That is the green that I strive for. Well, build up to in the highlights, but you don't need to do a build up when you went with the white, like the white and the green combination. That's like I can't tell which one stands out more because of the other. You know what I'm saying? Like I look at it, it's like, oh, look at all that white. Oh, look at that green.
Yeah, and it's really hard on that. I remember painting that Stage 1A. It's hard to delineate where the chitin ends and the goo begins, and he really chose really nicely to do that. He didn't go too far on either. Like, he chose a lot more bone armor, which makes him look like he's actually wearing armor, which is kind of fun.
Kind of does, you're right.
So I do like his choices there. Then we have up into some Hellboy here. We got Ed Owen Jones, who sounds like a Hellboy character. He did something really cool with the translucent Johann model. He kind of dyed it so it's yellowish, but then with a pen, he sketched on Johann's ghostly form to make it look like it's on the translucent plastic. Like, it's such a nice effect. And if you actually look at the comic books, this looks so accurate to the comic books. I'll actually put a picture of the comic in the show notes just to show the comparison. Because, like, he made it look easy, but that detail is not on that miniature. He made that look like the comic looked at. That's some artistic talent right there. So, beautifully done.
Yep. Now I expect to see yours look just like that.
I will try, but I don't get it. I actually don't have a translucent Johann because I never ordered it and it was expensive. I'm going to try to get Pat to slip me one of these days.
Oh.
We'll have to see. We'll see if I can get one on the DL.
If you're if you're a booth babe at Gen Con this year again, maybe you can earn yourself a.
Yeah, there's quite a few things I have to earn myself this year. There won't be any product trading. It'll be all Mantic this year, I think. Yeah, we also got some more of the Hellboy stuff. It's getting to people's hands, so everybody's painting everything up. We have the busts. Grant Muir did the busts, and he did Hellboy himself. He also did an amazing version of Ape Sapien and Johann in his containment suit. And I think he captured the colors perfectly in all these. And these busts will be fun to paint, and I can't wait. I do have my Hellboy finally, so I will be starting to do that. I am going to rebase them all, and I'm going to try a painting technique on them to try to make them look like the Magnola style, very heavy blacks. So we'll have to see how that goes. And I'll let people know how it goes in the future once I start. And we also have John Jack, another friend of the show. He got inspired from our mech zone, and he's like, I got a lot of bits and pieces of mechs laying around, so I'm going to build my own. So the first one, he used some tracks off of, I think it's off the, what's that thing called? The Yotan? The weapon thing for, the Forge Fathers? The one
I thought it was Mind Laser, yeah.
It's either Mind Laser or it's the Yotan, the bigger one that has the 4 barrels that it's in Warpath.
It's hard to tell.
Yeah, but he's got that with a bunch of weapons and 2 saws. He went crazy. And he also did one where it's such a strange look, because the legs are in the back, and he put the drills out front, and it's some crazy stuff that people are doing with the mechs nowadays. And, yeah, we'll have to build some stats up and play them in Mech Zone, because the more the merrier. A new challenger has entered the arena.
Yeah, well, we did design it with expansion in mind, so, yeah.
Yep, easy to do. You just have to give them a number, and you can throw them in there. And that boat covers it. I think that's 96 in the can there, Jack.
96. So 4 more episodes, and we can finally wrap this thing up.
Yeah, we can put a bullet in its head.
Bid this adieu and move on with our lives.
Yeah. And yeah, for that 100th episode, maybe we'll have people send us some questions. Maybe we'll do a question. If a bunch of people listen to this and want to send us questions, go for it. We don't care what the question is. It could be about anything. We will answer questions. How's that sound, Jack?
So every episode up until that one, we ask for questions. Eventually we'll get...
like 2 questions, yeah.
Sizable, then, yeah.
And before it's gone, please do go to the Cafe Press store. The link's in the show notes to buy some shirts. They will be collector's items soon. They're limited time only, so get to that. And I think that wraps it up. Team building exercise will be back in June, and I think we'll be doing mercs, because that'll be fun. And we'll also talk about the rest of Escalation in the next episode. So that should be a nice overview. I don't think we'll go too in depth. Maybe it'll just be on our impressions on the stuff we couldn't talk about. Because I know Jack has a lot to say about the scenery, and I also have some things to say about the Mercs factions. So it should be fun.
Yeah. Like I know, like right now, I could address the artwork on page 66, which I think might be a cheeky nod, but I'm not going to say that. Or there's some of the artwork in the book where they photoshopped some movements and some like subtle action, like some sparks and stuff in the background. Someone, when they did their layout, or when they did the, decided what art was going to go where and what, they did a really good job. But I think whoever was in charge of that really likes the GCPS, because they got a lot of love in the models department, which, very nice, aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know, that's true. I know what you're saying. GCPS has some really nice shots of the models and some new artwork too, you're right.
But if you were to ask me what my favorite picture is, in the book, page 81.
I was just looking at that page too myself.
Okay.
That's a new piece of art. So when people get this book in their hands, it won't be page 81, because we're looking at a pre-document. It'll be around there though. You'll know it though. It's the big color piece between Maison Labs and the Marauders. Go check that out.
That's not Maison Labs. It's
no, that's what's between the two lists.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant who was in this battle. Okay, no.
Where to find it in the book, I'm saying.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so, yes, it's a very, without sounding like I'm sucking up, it is a quality product. It's not a slapdash, cash grab kind of thing. A lot of thought and effort put into this, and I think I said at the top of the show, and I'll say it again, Escalation has pleasantly surprised me in many ways. So,
yeah, I'm not so surprised, but I think it's a step up. And if they keep stepping up every year, this is pretty nice trajectory they're on right now. So, exciting.
Yeah.
Well, until then, I've been Rob.
And I'm Jack.
And we'll see you on a live show probably next, and then we'll see you next month. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Deadzone Podcast. I have been your announcer, William Randolph Wintergreen. Visit the website, deadzonegame.podbean.com. Email your hosts at deadzonepodcast@gmail.com. On Twitter, you can follow the show at Deadzone Podcast. The Deadzone Podcast is a production of Vinland Old Time Radio Productions.
Your anger can find its outlet other places.
It always does. It always does. The most inopportune times and the most socially reprehensible places.
Yep. That's why I don't work at the daycare anymore.
That's right. That's right. I didn't know euthanasia was, well, you can write your own joke there.
Crazy. It sounds like there's a rolling gunfight in your backyard.
Yeah, that's...
We never told anybody Jack lives in East LA.
in East LA. I was born in East LA.
It was worth it just for your Cheech and Chong impression.